fruits.
Balrogs and Blastbeats for another week. Just a little bit of a rock and roll nerdy podcast where we talk all things nerd and metal and
rock and roll.
Rock and roll. It's the rock. It's what the kids are saying these days. They're into the rock and the roll. And every now and again we make
Rock,
a viral TikTok.
metal.
We've been pushing the TikTok a little bit more lately of Balrogs and Blastbeats and Northside Nerds. And the video where we talk about metal and self-esteem and shit is like, it's had like 13,000 views now, and it's got like fucking a fuckload of comments, and everyone seems real wholesome in there. Everyone's like, oh, this makes a lot of sense.
Did anyone call me ugly? I'll fight him.
No.
Oh,
No,
right.
there's
Why
actually
would they do that?
I don't know. Or annoying.
The internet sucks, but no, it's actually like the things in there are really, really positive, and so it's just wholesome. You should go and check out at Northside Nerds on TikTok.
Awesome.
And in the meantime, I'm one of your hosts for Balrogs and Blastbeats. My name's Josh Redbeard.
Oh, after that very long introduction, I'm Margy, and my cat is on my shoulder, Bowie, in case you hear me scream in pain.
I am Grant, and I'm without my usual savage beast that hangs around behind me today, as he is enjoying the backyard of our new place that I've moved to. So
Tasmania represent.
he's all good. He's just loving having grass again. But as always, I'm going to take us into the nerdiest things we've done this week, and I've been smashing heaps of a game called Stardew Valley. I don't know. Have either of you two heard of Stardew Valley before?
That's a throwback to COVID times.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of people getting into it, but I have no idea what actually happens in Stardew Valley.
It's a farming simulator, basically. You have a farm. You grow food on the farm. You make relationships with the townspeople. You have like a town community center that you have to collect items for to rebuild it. So it might be you have to catch a certain kind of fish, or you have to find, a certain mineral, or you have to cook a certain, I don't know, you have to make like daffodil oil or some shit. I don't know. So that's part of it, and then obviously, or you can just go into the mines and just fight skeletons and stuff like that. But yeah, it's good fun. It's got a good gameplay loop. It's been keeping me entertained, probably more than it should for what it is. It's pretty addictive.
Is this the one where there's like a mare that's like a raccoon or something like that? Or am I
No, that's Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing, that's the one. And he's like real bigoted or racist or something like that. Wasn't there some issue with him where he says like really crap things? Probably making it up. But
probably it's either that or it's just like really bad Japanese translation and it just hasn't come across right.
Could be a bit of both.
My input on Stardew Valley, after my computer just shat itself, it's all good with is that it just sounds like growing up in a rural town on a farm.
That is basically it. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like my dad's life every day. Like goes to the markets, goes to the bowls club on a Friday night for some drinks, grows fruit and veg.
Fucking wicked. What else? That's
it's
awesome.
And he makes his own homebrew. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
Even a 0.5% one, Josh, for you.
Oh,
it's barely a beer.
That's why it's barely a beer. See, that's why I moved down here, so I could do that. Don't need none of this.
Start your own Stardew Valley.
Don't need none of this.
That's why I moved into a house with a big backyard, so I could have a large patch of weeds.
Don't need none of that Brunswick bull crap in my life. I just need land.
Oh, Northcote, thank you. I mean, location unknown.
Pause. Redacted.
All right, how about you, Margy? What's the nerdiest thing you've done this week?
All right, so if you have read the episode title, then you'll know what we are talking about. And even though I wrote my show notes this afternoon, I was just having a real good Google about Atlantis, because I was like just reading about like Atlantis and folklore, and there was Plato spoke about it, and then it kind of died off for no one really spoke about it. Then it kind of resurged again, like 1800s, 1900s. People were like, hey, that's fucking sick. Let's talk about that. And then glass smashed and like the wall broke, and I realized that Numenor is Atlantis in the Silmarillion.
Yes, of course.
Numenor is Atlantis. It was a blessed land given to like people with special gifts by the gods, and then because they overreached or caused some jealousy or whatever the fable goes, there's all different retellings of it. Like some of it, the gods were too jealous, but one is that Plato used it to explain that the Atlanteans went to go fight the Athenians, then they got their asses kicked, and then they went back, and then as vengeance they sunk it. But anyway, but I just did not realize how genius that is. Like, it's so well disguised because it wasn't like Atlantis, it's not like Numenor lives at the bottom of the ocean. Oh my god, fuck, maybe it does. Maybe that's what he was planning for fucking the next books after Lord of the Rings. Or it could be. How fucking cool would that be? And a hobbit's got to go deep sea diving.
I mean, it's one place that you never really explore in Middle-earth is like the bottom of the ocean, so it is completely possible.
It is. And I mean, and I like that some remnants of the Numenorians still live on, because obviously, like we got Aragon. But like, holy shit, like, is that not mind-blowing that Numenor is Atlantis,
It's definitely a strong connection that I'm sure not a lot of people have thought about.
Have a think about it. Have a read. Lots of good depictions of Atlantis in literature as well. I would recommend reading about the history of Atlantis in pop culture, because if Plato wrote it as an allegory, but then everyone's like, Plato wrote the truth, y'all. That it happens. And it's like, I'm pretty sure we've seen the bottom of the Mediterranean Sea, but whatevs.
Yeah. I also like Plato speaking the truth. Like they or even like all the what's it called? Or like Socrates students can't even come to consensus on what Socrates was talking about, let alone like how are they from there going to tell the truth? Like they don't even know what they think. They don't even know what they think themselves.
They try to figure out what thinking is. And also platonic love, because obviously then I was having a good Google about Plato, because I was like, was he crazy, or was he, I mean, is Atlantis real?
Or was he even real? Or is he also just a literary invention?
Oh, we're getting started early on the conspiracy theories. But platonic love actually means a profound and deep connection that goes beyond a physical connection. So it's like when you have a platonic relationship, you can have two meanings. You can have a platonic love, as in a platonic love, where you could form such a deep bond with someone that it transcends physicality and mortal bonds. And then you can have platonic love where you don't have sex or touch each other or whatever it is.
But is that named after Plato? Because that's going to blow my mind to know.
Yeah, that's where it came from. Is Plato described platonic love as in I'm sure I'm getting some of this wrong. I've got a mate who's doing a PhD in philosophy. Joy! But like, he's doing a PhD in philosophy. He's such a nerd. I love him. But he, so Plato came up with this, it transcends the physical body, and it's about this really profound, deep connection sort of thing. And then, we've kind of, again, misconstrued what he said into just being like, we're pals. So, fair. Very cool though. There you go. There is your Plato lesson for the day. Josh.
Amazing. So the nerdiest thing that I've done this week was I finally went and saw Ant-Man Quantumania. Now, starting with the good, Jonathan Majors may now be one of my favorite actors ever. Him playing Kang is fucking amazing. Like, he was amazing as like was it the Unnamed or whatever he was fucking called in Loki, like at the end of Loki. He was amazing at that, and I was like, he's going to be interesting. But he was really quirky in that role and a little bit like, ooh. But in this, he's just fucking tough as fucking nails. Like, he is brutal. He is scary. He's someone that you almost want to, like, the way they tell the story, it's like you don't even know if he's like the worst Kang or if he's like trying to stop.
I don't think I've seen him in anything.
He was in was it Lovecraft Country? HP Lovecraft Country. He got popular in that, but he's only like 30.
HP Lovecraft would have loved that.
Yeah, right.
Oh dear.
Yeah, we won't go into that one. We absolutely won't touch that one. But he's an amazing actor, and he did really, really good in as Kang. Everything else about the movie was just not great. But it's still better, in my opinion. It's still better than Wakanda Forever, because of Jonathan Majors. Like, if it wasn't him, if it was just fucking MODOK, oh my god, MODOK was like,
I saw some photos. It didn't look good. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
it was always going to be hard to pull off. Let's be honest.
that was
like,
Yeah.
it
that's
was
the
always
thing. I
going to
think
look bad.
48% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I never listen to reviews. I don't believe in reviews. No, they can not reviews.
Reviews are a
Don't care.
conspiracy theory.
Yeah, reviews are a conspiracy theory. We'll get into that later. But like, I remember when Christopher Nolan said we're going to have a character Bane, and I was like, well, how the fuck are you going to do Bane? Because he is so cartoonish, and all they did was just make him jacked, but not like proper Bane, like fucking,
Just
Venom
gave him
jacked.
a cartoon voice.
Yeah, just gave him a cartoon voice. But yeah, with Bane, you could do that. Whereas MODOK, there really isn't a way to not make it look cheesy and campy. Like I don't know if you watched the television show that they did about MODOK, where it was like a fucking piss take. Like, it was fucking
Yeah.
like they were all like robot chicken characters, and that was fucking great because he could
MODOK.
just be ridiculous in that. But yeah, it was not good, but as not good as it was, I think Jonathan Majors himself like single-handedly carried that entire film and made it like fucking incredible.
Fun
Fucking
fact.
incredible for go on.
If you spell it MODOC, which is how I did, the MODOK are an Indigenous American people who historically lived in the area, which is now northeastern California and central southern Oregon.
Fair enough.
So that's what MODOK's named over, I think. It's no.
No, it's not a palindrome. What's the word? It's like the first letter of each thing.
Acronym.
It's a acronym. Yeah, it's a mechanical organism designed only for killing. That's literally what it stands for. That's literally what it stands for. But the CG was fucking terrible. But they were never going to be able to do that good. I don't know why they did it at all, to be completely honest.
That character just sounds like it's a bridge too far.
Yeah.
They should have just made it those things from Doctor Who. The exterminate. What are they called?
And they could have just...
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
I think that's the thing, is they could have just not had him in there. Like, his character doesn't really do very much in the film. It was just one of those things that just was sort of unnecessary.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, so it's like, I think the reason why I know that Quantumania is better than Wakanda Forever is because I'll probably still watch like Quantumania again, which I'll never watch. Are you right there, Margy? It's like Margy's like, if you listen to this,
I think
podcast,
she
Margy
just looked up a photo
struggling.
of MODOK. I reckon that's what she's just looked up.
Yeah, and she is.
Without,
we've lost
without his helmet on.
Jawa no hood.
Yeah, we've. We've lost Margy forever now. That's the end of that. I think she's about to cry. She's laughing too hard. But yeah.
I'm crying.
If you're a fan of the Marvel Universe, I suggest watching it because it sets up like the next kind of thing that's going to happen. And I think that Kang is going to be a bigger threat than Thanos to the Marvel Universe. And it's going to set up some sick stories. And I'm so excited that Jonathan Majors is going to be in it. But yeah, the rest of it was
as long as MODOK's not in it, I'm happy.
No. Yeah. No.
I can't go see that in cinemas because clearly I'm not gonna I won't be okay.
It's all right. It seems like it wasn't too flash anyway, to be honest.
No,
So.
you could 100% wait and just watch that one on Disney Plus. I feel you could absolutely just do that.
And I also feel like the scientist in me will be like,
But yeah, so that's the nerdiest thing that I've done this week. But we're gonna move into the medium beat now. And Grant, you're gonna try and ask us to change your mind about a certain topic, and we're gonna do our best.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's gonna be a challenge, but
don't try and make me overcome my prejudice. How dare you?
Grant,
like
what are we trying to change your mind about this week?
You're all cowards, and Nickelback fucking rules. Everyone can all sit around because they don't want to have an opinion of themselves, and they've just heard someone else say they don't like Nickelback, but Nickelback is fucking sick.
I like your pants around your knees. I forgot how it goes. Is that Nickelback? That's.
I mean, wait. So you're gonna use those lyrics when we all listen to death metal. And you're gonna go attack those lyrics, and we're gonna go listen to I Come Blood, and like, let's be serious here.
Chad Kroger plays keyboard. There we go. All right, argue for me why I should like Nickelback, because
They're
I've made
bangers.
it.
They're full, just tracks of bangers, just good catchy music, good catchy riffs, quality song structures. What else more do you need? There's even a few blast beats there sometimes.
I feel like they just follow your standard pop rock song formula. It's like
No,
intro.
do they follow the standard pop rock formula song, or did they create the formula?
No, it already existed. That's why it's standard. It's been around for a long time. Nickelback. Why are they?
Are you literally Googling why Nickelback hated? You can't even say that for yourself.
So, as I said before, it's a bunch of people that don't even have their own opinion about it. They just heard other people say they don't like it.
No, I've heard Nickelback songs and I've gone, poo yuck. I'm going to avoid that. And so now I am doing what I would do as state debating champion and have a great research, aka Google. Yes, that's right. That's right. I am a master debater. It's
Well, while Margy is, formulating her answer like a professional, I'm just going to go off.
Oh, they're Canadian.
Yeah, they're Canadian. Absolutely. I think it's been long enough that I'm allowed to tell this story. I was told this story in confidence many moons ago, but I know that Nickelback were, it would have been around 2004, 2005 on Rove Live, which if you're a young kid was a TV show in the late
Rove
90s,
Live.
early 2000s. Like it was like a variety show, like The Late Show or The Tonight Show or anything like that.
What about Hey Hey It's Saturday?
It was similar to Hey Hey It's Saturday as well.
For the real oldies among us.
But I have it on very, very good authority that Chad Kroger threw a massive tantrum because they didn't have his hair products on standby for him. like a proper childhood tantrum. See, Grant, you've put me in a real bind here though, because my go-to karaoke song is How You Remind Me. Like it is just like that is like whenever I go to karaoke, that's the song that I play. So I'm trying really hard to change your mind, but at the same time,
you agree.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is like I've specifically taken some of my most epic metalhead friends and just be like, I'm just gonna play you this song, and I put on that fucking the
Dark Horse.
No, that Machine song, the one they did a couple of years back.
Yeah.
That has that fucking huge prog riff at the start of it. I was like, how sick is this riff? And they're like, yeah, this is fucking sick. And then it kicks in. They're like, this is really fucking sick. Who is this? I was like, it's fucking Nickelback. And they're like,
and then the lyrics kick in and they're like, well, I think it's his voice that I really don't like. Like it's my neurospicy thing. Like if someone has got a voice that grates me, which is why I hate most pop punk. Because it's like, wah! And you're like, oh, no, absolutely not. Or in his case, and you're like, oh, I don't know what you sound like when you come. Gross. Like, I just, no. And to quote this great article, something minor that came up in my research was also the lead singer, Chad Kroger, was very dislikable. He has bad hair and facial hair and sometimes comes across as arrogant.
Jeez, musician's never done that before.
Then the meme of him with ramen hair. And also, why were they signed to Roadrunner Records? Like, what the fuck were they thinking?
Well, this is the thing, because I was calling out someone at Roadrunner Records about it, and I got shut down very, very fucking hard, very, very quickly, because I was making fun of them for signing Nickelback, and their instant response was them signing Nickelback paid for all the small bands that they know they're not going to make money on, or the small bands that they can then go and take a risk on because they were making so much money from Nickelback. And I was like, yeah, I can't argue with that. So again, Margy, I would love to use that as a debate against Grant, but you've actually just given Grant another point.
All you've done is actually no one, there's an actual metric to show that no one likes our music. So we're all going to go and not like the music that people obviously like.
Also, I just heard a beep from somewhere. It sounded like a robotic beep, and it sounded like you were trying to beep yourself, except you failed.
It's probably your computer's slowly starting to set on fire again.
Oh, like mine did earlier. Excellent.
Yeah.
Look,
yeah, Grant, I wish that I could change your mind, but I'll fail at that. So, Margy, I'm relying on you to change Grant's mind.
I love the internet. Band members do not have enough talent, and renowned artists have shared this opinion. It's not about talent. It's about how fucking catchy you are. I think.
See, I think that's weird because Devin
I think
Townsend
I
said that
just.
Chad Kroeger was like one of the most intelligent, like talented songwriters that he's ever played with. Which I also thought was a pretty big call because he's
That's
usually
a
an
very
asshole.
big call.
Devin
Yeah, that's a
Townsend is
very
usually
big
like
call
a
from
pretty
Devin
big
Townsend.
asshole.
Okay. Look, I CBF going into a super deep analysis of their song structure, key, chords, keys of songs, etc., and lyrical content. But they're probably singing about the same shit that everyone else does, which is like sex, love.
Look at this photograph.
Look at this photo.
Um,
I'm sad. Look, I think
this photograph.
I think I
exactly it.
strongly dislike their music and tone, and there is nothing about it that I find appealing. But good for them for kind of jumping on the tail end of the grunge era, driving it into the dirt, and I'm
mean,
glad
was
Roadrunner
grunge
Records
ever
got some
good?
money because we need Roadrunner Records. So let's be real. Maybe we could argue that if it wasn't for Nickelback, we would not have some great albums that we have today.
Yeah, or we'd
Well,
just
we
be
will.
stuck with more Nirvana, which is actually bad.
Wow.
No, I'd rather Nirvana.
Wow.
I'd rather Nirvana over.
Yeah, that's where we'll disagree. I was like, I would pick Nirvana 17 times out of 20. Versus
You've got
Nickelback.
the lyrical genius of hello, 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 how low.
You know, yeah, you got him.
Got him.
Pretty
Not
good.
gonna beat that.
No, I'm
All right.
definitely. If I had to go with any of them, it'd be Smashing Pumpkins. Absolutely. Top of the grunge kit ladder for me.
2 Smashing Pumpkins. I think we've had this exact conversation in another episode. That
We have had this conversation.
They have 2 good songs.
Oh no, we had it before we recorded. No, and then I named it was Zero, Bullet with Butterfly Wings,
and Disarm, and that's
Disarm. I feel like there's one more that's good, but yeah, I mean, they're not very versatile, but what they did well, they fucking did well. Anyway, Smiling Politely.
Yeah. So Grant, I feel like we failed in that. Well done. We can't change your mind that Nickelback are actually they
start a
have
point board.
merit. I feel like especially if you could separate the art from the artist, especially like if you could separate Chad Kroeger from Nickelback as sort of like he is one dislikable thing, and then you've got the bangers that is the band, including obviously him on vocals.
Look, I'm also going to argue though that this is an unfair argument, and we were set up to fail from the start because music is a personal opinion.
Yeah.
And even though some people's opinions are wrong, you can't change their opinions because people are dumb. And they're going to like what they like.
I feel like a lot of people have that opinion just because it's the popular opinion, not because they have an opinion of their own. That's what my issue is.
Okay. Let's change public opinion, and instead of all the Nickelback memes, we're just going to do Zeolite death metal memes, and it's just going to be Zeolite memes.
Yeah,
actually, can you guys do that with one of my band's things? Please and thank you.
I'm sure like a massive reason why Nickelback is rich as right now is just all that free publicity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then people listen to a few songs and then they're like, "This is shit." Turn it off, but make a meme. The cycle continues.
You're 100% right, because that's, in my opinion, that's the same reason why people hate like Limp Bizkit and ska music.
Yeah,
it's for the same fucking reason.
Limp Bizkit, nah.
Greatest band in the fucking universe. Like, greatest band in the universe by far. I would like unironically wear that t-shirt if someone got it for me that literally says Limp Bizkit are the greatest band in the universe.
Important question, though. Important question. Is skanking just two-stepping to beatdowns?
Well, skanking was before two-stepping, wasn't it?
But is that then
technically isn't two-stepping just skanking to beat down.
Yeah.
So yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, hardcore kids pretending that they don't love ska music is them two-stepping. That's exactly it.
But is hardcore just ska without trumpets?
Is Nickelback just ska without trumpets?
Without trumpets, yeah.
That's a conspiracy theory. I'm sold.
And that's going to lead very nicely into our main beat for this week, because we're gonna go down a very dark path if we keep that up. As Margy said earlier,
this is going to be much lighter.
100%.
This is going to be
100%.
Jet fuel can't melt steel beams. All right.
As Margy said, the title for this episode is "The Theory of Conspiracies," and it is very much like kind of next to our culture adjacent, because it's something we experience.
Wait, why didn't we title it Jet Fuel Can't Melt Steel Memes?
I mean, the episode's not actually out yet, so we could name it.
Yeah, we could change the title, but I can make that like the subtitle in brackets, parentheses. Jet fuel can't melt steel memes.
I think that's how anyone that can see a title of our podcast will know either immediately they're not American, because there's not a second of shying around 9/11, because the rest of the world just doesn't care.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Well, got that out of the way. You're welcome, Americans.
But obviously, I think we're gonna start from the starting point. And Margy, you've done a bit of a deep dive in the research into this. Is like why are we drawn towards conspiracy theories? Why do humanity love a good conspiracy theory?
All right, fucking get ready for this, because I took ADHD meds and I got some shit done. So there is someone, it's an emerging field of research, definitely gaining popularity. I found someone who is a social psychologist, Dr. Karen Douglas, and she studies conspiracy theories. So, as always, we must start with a definition. That's how you always start. Anyone ever written a report? So this expert is a conspiracy theory can normally be defined as a proposed plot carried out in secret, usually by a powerful group of people who have some kind of sinister goal. So something to gain from what they're doing, and they don't normally have other people's best interests at heart. That is a conspiracy theory that's true. A conspiracy theory that's not true is people believe that to be true when it's not. That makes sense, right? Because I guess you can have a conspiracy theory about something that turns out to be true, but then if it's not true, it's
still a conspiracy theory if it's true. I thought it was more like conspiracy theories are like, I guess because it does prove after a while, like you have a theory about something, and then sometimes it does turn out to be true.
Yeah. So that's like, it's a proposed plot. So if it turns out that it is an actual plot, then it just becomes crazy government cover-ups. So suspicions of hostile collectives, so other people being nasty and hostile, have been around since at least the burning of Rome. There were conspiracy theories about that they found evidence of. So humans are wired towards it, and you can and to question and be suspicious of the actions of others. So if you think about it evolutionarily, which is how I think about everything that we do. Okay, so there's another tribe that come in. We're going to call them the yellow tribe. We're the blue tribe. And the yellow tribe come in and they're like, "Oh, sup, blue tribe. You guys are really missing out. There's a really good berry crop over the hill.
You guys want to have a bunch of nickelbacks?
Yeah, you guys should head over there to check it out." And then we all up and leave because we're like, "Fuck yeah, better berries." And then they steal our cave. I don't understand what the Neolithic times were like, but I'm assuming that's it. Anyway, so there are three main motives that work together to make us believe conspiracy theories: epistemic, existential, and social motives. Epistemic motives, that means knowledge, is that we have a need for knowledge and certainty and a desire to have information. We want to know the truth and we want to be certain of the truth. So when we're uncertain, we're more drawn to question things, and thus we're more drawn to conspire and come up with conspiracy theories. Existential motives are how people need to feel safe and secure in the world that they live in, and they want the knowledge that they have some kind of power or autonomy over what happens to them. So people don't like feeling powerless or not in control.
That's what I always thought. I thought it was purely because people are just terrified that the world's actually chaos and they can't cope with that fact.
Absolutely. And then there is social motives, and that's about, it's social theory. So it's people want to feel good about themselves on an individual level and also on a group level, like the social group you belong to. High self-esteem for the individual will come from believing you might have access to information that other people don't. It gives you feelings of superiority over others. And most people have a need for uniqueness and to stand out over others. And this applies at a group level as well. And then if you combine that with an overimportant sense of your group and a feeling that the group you're part of is underappreciated, then you've got you're moral and upstanding and you're the best group, and every other group out there is trying to ruin what you've got. So those are the three things that work together, and there's a few things that kind of make people drawn to conspiracy theories. People with lower education levels tend to be more drawn to conspiracy theories. but it's not necessarily an indicator of IQ or anything. It's more so that they haven't learnt the tools to differentiate between credible and non-credible sources and stuff like that. They haven't learnt how to disseminate and evaluate, which is something that you learn. It's not an inherent thing you're born with. Narcissists are more strongly drawn to conspiracy theories, which feeds back into that social motive. Younger people are more likely to believe them. There's a negative correlation with age and believing conspiracy theories. So the
That's
older
interesting
you get,
because
yeah.
there's a lot of old people believing a lot of crazy things at the moment.
I know, right? But apparently young people believe it more. There's no evidence of gender, any side of gender. Previously marginalized groups throughout history can be more likely to believe certain conspiracy theories, like certain groups that have undergone persecution and mistreatment by governments before may be more likely to believe something about the government because
Yeah,
of
that's
what
fair.
conspiracy theory believers tend to have lower intellectual humility, as in their assholes. They have an inflated sense of their own intellectual competence, and that might explain why. Like, I've got a friend's mum who's a biochemist, and she worked as a scientist for years. She's a flat earther. I'm like, you're a scientist, and it's putting your thoughts and values above other things. Believers are more prone to anxiety, and they're more prone to paranoia, suspicious thinking, feeling like they lack control, eccentricity. Never heard of a conspiracy theorist being eccentric. Stronger need to feel special, Machiavellianism, openness to experience, and a couple more things. People are more likely to believe conspiracy theories when there are times of massive social or political upheaval. So there's more conspiracy theories going around and they're more prevalent. COVID-19 global pandemic. Yep. So, so some research has indicated conspiracy theories were really strong and prevalent at the time of like the Industrial Revolution or the start of the Cold War, because, you know, end of one war, start of another. And they really affect everything in your life. Like, you know, they can impact health, relationships, safety, but they are wrapped across times, cultures, and social settings. They are a universal thing. It's humans.
Which is really interesting. Like, because I ruined my housemate's streaming service algorithm by just watching a whole bunch of random shit over the last few days on the couch. But yeah, the first one that I watched was literally just called "The Truth About 5G," and I was like, "Fuck yes!" Like, take me down this rabbit hole right fucking now. But it was like, it turned out like it was a bit of a clickbaity title because it turned out it was produced by the ABC's
Telstra.
Four Corners. It was produced by Four Corners. So it was produced by the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, and it was very much like it interviewed. It didn't mock anyone. It didn't like particularly take sides, but it showed a lot of like how, you know, the 5G community, like the anti-5G movement, has sort of connected with the current anti-vax and COVID
Chemtrails.
conspiracy unit, and yeah, they said they interviewed a woman who had a Facebook group called Australians for Safe Technology, which sounds great, but it is an anti-5G kind of movement. But apparently they interviewed her and said that in the first 3 weeks of lockdown, her Facebook group went from 8,000 followers to 40,000 followers in just a couple of weeks. And I was like, that's a lot of people.
It's a 50 times increase or 5 times increase. 5.
Yeah.
I can math.
Yeah. No, it's a shitload though, especially in just a couple of weeks. And that's like, you know, they interviewed her as to why. She's like, yeah, they interviewed her and she's like, oh, I just think people have had more time to like think and like do their own research and understand what's going on. I was like, yeah, it's because we're all cooped up and going insane.
But a lot of people have very different interpretation of doing your own research, not just reading what someone else said on a different website.
The definition of research is very loose in this particular setting.
Well, that's something that researchers have said. Like, you know, we've got social media and the internet is just like, we have the internet everywhere we go. Like, that's why I Google everything, because I'm lazy. But so it's changed the way that we access and we share information, and you can choose information. So you can choose what you access. So you're narrowing your niche and stuff about what it is. Like like what you're consuming, and you can choose it. And because of like confirmation bias, so that's where when you believe something, every time you see something that reinforces it, you're like, fuck yeah, I'm right. Even
But you
if you
ignore
see,
the rest.
you ignore the rest. Exactly. And it's proven. And like that media has an impact. Research showed that belief in COVID-19 conspiracy theories were lower when people were exposed to traditional media like TV, radio, and newspapers. And there was the higher your exposure to politicians, digital media, and personal contacts led to greater conspiracy theories and misinformation beliefs. So I feel like that's kind of like TV, radio, and newspapers. You don't choose what you consume there. You're watching TV, you're watching TV. Digital media, you're going on conspiracytheory.org,
Yeah.
QAnon.
But
But like, yeah, it's
also the way that like cookies and like the if like Facebook algorithms and all that stuff works as well is even if you look up a little bit of that, it just feeds you more of that stuff, and then
oh
and
my
that
god,
hardens
Josh,
that
we're all
worldview,
fucked.
and you won't see anything else. So you like
Yeah.
say if you look up at anything politically or about conspiracy theories, if you look up any of that stuff, it's going to feed you more of because it's like, oh, you want to see that, and it's going to keep you on my site, so I'm going to give you more of that.
And
Yeah,
it's,
but it's also
and
because like people tend to connect more to that sort of stuff. So like, I mean, obviously, like it's no secret that I am just a fucking full on militant lefty, but even in
what?
I know, right? Wild. But it is actually kind of weird how much right wing content gets fed into me as like, you should check out this thing. You should check out this thing. But it's because like I want to stay updated on that side of stuff and find out what's going on. And so my algorithm actually shows me probably more right wing content than it does left wing content because it
You gotta
thinks
know
that's
your enemy.
yeah.
But at the same
As
time,
Rage Against the Machine said.
Yeah. But
It's
it doesn't
also-
go the other
it's-
way around.
it's better than it just being all the one side, though. Let's be honest, because
No,
it's
100%.
there's no good living in an echo chamber. Like you
No,
have to have
but-
a balanced worldview for things to
Yeah.
work. You have to be able
Yeah.
to see both sides.
But
Otherwise,
also,
nothing's ever going to happen. No one will ever connect.
also then like if you believe something really strongly, you're less likely to question it and you're more likely to tenaciously hold on to that belief. And then you've got the confirmation bias. And they actually have found a really cool thing in their research on conspiracy theories. So people are able to believe two contradictory conspiracy theories. The example I'm going to use is people will believe that Princess Di was murdered, which obviously she was. Lizzie did it. And they will also believe that she faked her death to go live on an island. So and they don't really know why, but they think it's because if you're predisposed to believe a conspiracy theory, like, hey, I don't believe all the information we've been fed around Princess Di's car accident. I still remember it on the news. And because you're going, I don't really understand what happened here, you go, okay, well, I guess this could have happened and this could have happened. Like it's Schrodinger's conspiracy theory. until we open the box, we don't know what's real. But like
Turns out
that's why,
Princess Diana's a cat.
She's been reincarnated as my cat.
She is alive and dead.
And also, here's a fun one. Conspiracy believers are more likely to see illusory patterns like a face in the clouds or something than non-conspiracy believers, which means they're more likely to see apparent connections between disparate events that the rest of us don't notice.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. That does make a lot of sense.
I mean,
that
checks
like,
out.
what do they call that? The power of suggestion. Where if I mention something, then you'll like if I say, oh, like a yellow car, you're immediately going to go notice more yellow cars now because that's stuck in the back of your head. So again, it's like if people plant this little bit of information inside of you, then it's like, oh, hang on a second. Now I see it here, and now I see it here, and now I see it here. It's all around me, even though it's only because now you're actively searching for it, and so you're finding it in places that it probably actually is not.
Yeah, and that's why some conspiracy theories are just so wild. Like, lizard people are trying to, and it's just like,
Not
Jesus,
the reptilians.
But
Not the reptilian overlords.
it was interesting. This like the Four Corners like truth about 5G thing. It's like they were talking about how like cyclical this whole idea is, because they referred it back to radiophobia, which like was first coined in 1903 when the radio became a popular thing and people were scared about the harm of the radiation from radio waves. And then in the 80s it was microwaves, exactly the same thing. It came back again, and it was the same fear for the same reason, even though we had, you know, what was that, 70 years between those 2 points and nothing had gone wrong. Oh, the microwaves are different. And then they've seen the same thing with 2G to 3G, 3G to 4G, 4G to 5G. But
they all love a cigarette though.
They do. They fucking love
absolutely.
But yeah, they went on to say that the apparently radio waves, and Marky, you can probably confirm or comment on this. Apparently radio waves are one of the most researched physical agents in the world, because
that checks out. We've known about them for fucking ages.
Yeah, because we've known about, like, we know more about it than anyone else, and yet people still fear it so much.
Man, you got to be heaps more afraid of the sun. Like, radio waves and microwaves are nice long wavelength frequencies, lower energy. You're cruisy, baby. Fucking sun, UV radiation, that shit'll kill you. Like, shocking, I know. But another thing that's kind of like that, like, it's kind of like a pseudo conspiracy theory. Like, this one wasn't a real one, but it's one that just shits me to tears. Is the MSG fucking yellow panic fever of racist Australians, and people hold on to it to this day. Like, I was talking to someone at work and they were like, oh, but yeah, there was so much MSG in that food though. I'm like, and like, you can't be allergic to MSG, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's sodium glutamate. Glutamate is deprotonated glutamic acid, which is one of the amino acids that builds our body. You can't fucking be allergic to that. You need it. If anything, MSG is
salt, isn't it?
It's salt, yeah, which is fucking. But like, yeah, but there are some fucking good conspiracy theories, and then there's some fucking like ones where you're just like, how did you make that? How did you make that connection?
One of my favorite ones during COVID times was, because I was still working during that and driving to and from work, it was people going like, oh, there's all these roadworks on, you know, what's the government up to? They must be doing all this, setting up all this stuff, blah blah blah. And it's just like, my girlfriend works for the government. They can't even fucking sort out catering for like 6 people. There's no way that they are colluding on a high level to get a project like that completed without anyone knowing, because they can't even get themselves fed.
Yeah, that's always the argument when people are like, oh no, the government's like hiding this, that, and the other. I was like, yeah, I am technically a government employee as well. And believe me,
incompetence.
Like, yeah, the amount of like waste, the amount of incompetence, the amount of like people that talk, the amount of people that are just useless. Like, it's just, it would not be possible at that sort of level. Like, that's why I think I am open to the idea of like the CIA or the FBI or like one of those branches like hiding Area 51 specifically from the government, like, because they're like, no, we're not going to get the government involved. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to find out that it's true, but like the presidents were never aware of it or something like that, just because.
God. There are so many good conspiracies around America. And like you've got your Marilyn Monroe. Obviously, she was murdered by the Kennedys.
Yep.
JFK. Were there multiple shooters? Because some evidence suggests that there were multiple shooters. And even though they managed to prove it with a flukish blood shot that showed that, because the mayor of the town or whatever it is, no, the bullet went through him and fucking bounced through his torso is what they're trying to say. And it's like, it like went out of him and then into his leg. And it's like, geez, that seems like...
It wasn't an FMJ though, so it does make sense. They are built to bounce around in the body, like if it doesn't have a metal jacket. But the most recent theory has actually been that one of the service agents in the front of the car accidentally discharged his firearm, and that's actually what got him. That's what killed him.
I have read that as well,
and that's why they're trying to get out of the car, and they don't know. No one's looking for where the shooter's coming from, and it's the only way for the trajectory. So they reckon that's a pretty big theory.
It's like that scene from Pulp Fiction where they shoot Marvin in the face. You're saying that's literally what killed
basically,
JFK.
Yeah, basically.
pretty much.
But then, there's also all this ridiculous stuff like You could see there's a grandma wearing a headscarf over there. We haven't been able to identify who the babushka woman is. It was her. She's got something to do with it. And it's like, no, it's just a fucking grandma who no one knows who it was. Like, she was just like,
And
oh,
it's
yeah, I'll check it
the
out.
70s. It's just shit fucking quality camera. Like,
what are you saying about Super 8 film?
awful.
So what do we got? What's some good ones?
I think we have to spend some time talking about Flat Earth, because obviously that's like such a big prevalent one at the moment, which is very, very funny. But like a couple of years back, I found this documentary about flat earthers, and I was like, fuck yes, this is going to be a laugh. It's called Behind the Curve. And I was like, this is going to be really, really funny. I'm going to get a good laugh out of this. It's going to be a great afternoon. But it actually really humanized them. Like, it didn't mock them at all. It showed their experiments failing, but never made fun of them for it. It's just kind of like, this person's going to do this and it's going to prove it. And they'd prove themselves wrong, and it never ever made fun of them. It even shows like there were two popular YouTubers, this guy and this girl, who were both like very, very popular flat earth YouTubers, and they end up like falling in love during the documentary, and it's fucking adorable. But one of the best parts about it is like it's footage of, there was some sort of convention of scientists, and this one scientist, like, he's got the microphone, he's talking to everyone else, he's saying like, he spent a lot of time like talking with flat earthers, and everyone obviously starts laughing. He's just kind of like, no, the problem with us laughing at them is like, they are technically scientists, they're doing experiments, they're trying to figure out what's going on. We just need to help them come to the right conclusion. And so by the end of it, I was like I still think flat earthers are fucking stupid, but yeah, by the end of it, it's an amazingly done documentary, but it really it humanized the experience that they go through. And I was like, it was a great way to sort of deliver it, rather than just being like, you guys are, even though they are fucking idiots, like the way it went about it was amazing.
It makes sense though. How are you ever going to convince someone of something by alienating them? Like in any sense of anything that you disagree with, if you attack them and alienate them, they're never going to agree with you by principle. They're just going to go to the opposite side.
That's literally how the social motive works in conspiracy theories. The more that you laugh at a conspiracy theorist and make them think that they're the other, the more that you're driving them towards believing in it. But about 300 BC, so the 3rd century before Christ, back in ancient Greece, Aristotle was like
BCE, actually, before Common Era.
Sorry. But oh my god, anyway. So Aristotle's like, I reckon the Earth's round. I've got some kind of hunches about it. Then they went on to prove it. Then everyone was like, but. Come on, it's 2023. We're here 2,300 years later with people being like, we've seen Earth from space, but nah, it's all a fucking
nuts. Like the main thing that I don't understand about those, I hear all their arguments about this, that, and the other, but I think like, to me, the one thing I don't get about flat Earth is just like, what do they believe scientists are trying to hide? Like, when we find out something about science we've been wrong about, scientists are like, yeah, we were wrong about it.
The Nazi bases in Antarctica, haven't you heard?
No, but like
the ice wall in Antarctica with the giant turtles over the other side. Have you not heard about this?
So there's something on the.
But then what's any of this? Oh, okay. All right.
What is on the other side? Like, I just thought it was like there was the ice wall and then it just fell off. Like that's kind of what I think.
I only just found out that people don't believe the Holocaust happened.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of that.
That's a very dark one.
That's like, but imagine if conspiracy theorists put all of this energy into maybe pursuing a science degree to go on to disprove it. You can go, I'm going to become super accredited. I'm going to become a world expert. Then I'm going to do actual amazing scientific experiments that can, it's just become a misplaced energies. But if you show the way to stop people believing in conspiracy theories, they think, is to give them factual information before exposure to a conspiracy theory. So if people had been taught a bit more about, in school, DNA, mRNA, how vaccines change, then they'd have been less likely to believe that conspiracy theory that mRNA changes your DNA and makes you part toad or whatever I don't fucking know what the theory was. But like, so if we actually, so it's kind of like, there's a lot of things that people just have no idea about. And it's just like simple bits of education can make such a difference to stopping them from believing. But then you have flat earthers who like have been taught their whole lives that there's some that just really.
But it's just funny because even for most of, like, as you were saying before, most of ancient history, even like since we've always had boats, no one really ever believed the Earth was flat. There was like 100-year period where the church was like, "Oh yeah, it's flat," but even then, like, no one believed it. Everyone has this like consensus that there was a long time where everyone really believed the Earth was flat. It never happened.
Yeah,
It's not true. It's the same. It's like people being like, "Oh, there was a dark age." There was never a dark age. It was just Europe was like Europe got Christianity and forgot how to read. Everyone else was still flourishing.
Yeah. There are some fucking good ones out there though. So
Yeah.
tell us about the turtles.
Yeah,
So essentially, there's like I couldn't quite find it, but yeah, as soon as I typed in giant ice wall, it was like came straight up with flat Earth. So essentially, there's a belief that at the edge of what we would find is like the Arctic poles is a giant ice wall, and on the other side of that is more continents, and it just keeps going. But apparently, it's just a world where we haven't quite gotten to yet. It's been hidden from us. And yeah, apparently there's giant turtles over there and Nazis.
So then they believe that we can't
to the South
Yeah.
Pole, like Ralph Woodson and stuff like that. Like,
they didn't.
Did they? Oh, they okay. They didn't. Okay,
they
cool,
didn't.
cool,
Yeah,
cool.
they did.
No.
No, but like, all right. So, but
Of
then
course
that, like,
not.
the giant ice wall, are we just not able to like fly over the giant ice wall? Like, are our planes not?
Oh no, you do,
capable
but
of-
they just don't let people fly there.
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
Yeah,
so,
no,
so
of course,
we can get there, but we just. But who's they as well? Is it people on the other side, or are we stopping people from going over?
It's the Nazis are on the other side.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
no.
Nazis are on the
And
other
they're
side.
also there's that. Have you had Hollow Moon? Have you guys done Hollow Moon yet?
I thought the moon didn't exist.
Nah, Hollow Moon. Nazis live inside the moon as well. Apparently, their technology was really good. The V2 actually barely worked because they couldn't afford the components inside it.
Yeah, great.
That's why
this film should be right up your alley. But have you ever watched Iron Sky?
Yes, I have seen Iron Sky.
Iron Sky is Grant written all over it. Dear listener, if you haven't seen Iron Sky, it's basically like the tagline is, in 1945, the Nazis went to the moon. In 2020, whenever it was, they're coming back. And it's like the Nazis went to the dark side and they've been there for the last 80 years. It's like the cheesiest fucking thing you've seen, but it's like, yeah, they've got like robots and shit. It's fucking so stupid. But yeah, it's like they do like a shot in like the quote unquote like presidential Oval Office, and it's quite clearly someone's lounge room that they've just kind of made look like the Oval Office. It's so fucking funny.
It's
like
definitely satire, but even before that movie came out, that's like a legitimate belief that people hold. Between that and Agartha, which is like Hollow Earth as well. It's another one. I don't know if you guys gotten into Hollow Earth yet either.
I did watch.
I've not gone that deep.
I watched. What was it recently? Godzilla versus King Kong, and they go into Hollow Earth.
Basically, yeah. So it's a place. It's allegedly a place called Agartha.
Journey to the center of the Earth. I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically the idea. It's called Agartha, and apparently all the Draconians and the Anunnaki aliens, they all live inside of the Earth, and we're just on the outside. And they're just harvesting our argon energy, which is technically bad vibes, and that's how they eat. They feed off our bad vibes. That's why we're all so depressed.
Argon would make such a great energy source, being an inert gas.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, aliens is probably a really good one to kind of cover because most people believe in aliens, at least to some point. But it's like where people draw the line.
What do you believe?
Is very different. I 100% believe, like, I had a friend who flat out refused to believe that aliens exist anywhere in the universe. He was like, we are the only life anywhere in the universe. I was like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, he's like, oh no, but like he was like, oh, the percentage like of humans existing is like, it's like 1 in a billion. And I was like, yeah, and how many?
But the universe is already it's technically infinite, so there has to be something.
The universe is infinitely
statistically there has
growing.
To be something out there.
Yeah, but I was like, if it was 1 in a billion, right? And we've got 100 billion stars in the sky at a conservative estimate, and each of those would have at least
good
one
odds.
planet. I was like, that's pretty fucking good odds. There's more life out there. It's like, it's still like there's going to be at least 100 planets based on 1 in a billion, which obviously it's going to be way more than. But I believe that. And then it's like, have they come to visit us is kind of where I'm not sure. And I guess I base that on the fact that, like, you know, when I was a kid in the 90s, there was so many, like, you know, aliens caught on tape, you know, and all this sort of stuff. And this was, you know, when the 90s, not everyone had a video camera. My family never had a video camera. Like, not everyone did, but like this footage existed. But now everyone has a camera in their pocket. Surely we should be seeing like this massive uptick in, you know, alien viewing. We should see more footage coming out all the fucking time. But we haven't seen a marked increase. No, I was going to say, it's just, I don't think we have.
Yeah.
Has
but
it?
The thing is, there's a lot of well, I guess theories that, you know, because you got like, say, like nuts and bolts aircraft, UFOs, you know, a real thing. And there's other people that think it's more of a different dimension psychological experience, and you manifest what you see. It might not be there, but, you know, it might be something more you trying to perceive a separate dimension, and that's how it's coming through to you, which is why you probably get...
Are you sure it's not as a result from the gay things that they're
putting
the gay
in the water,
frogs. The
the
gay frog medicine they're putting in the water is making us hallucinate.
No, that just causes Sandy Hook.
So
it was fake. Sorry.
I find it really hard because there are actually chemicals that go into the water that cause amphibian animals to have trouble reproducing with sex differentiation. So you should look up SLS and SLES and their impacts on aquatic life reproduction.
Should we talk about that giant chemical cloud in the States at the moment?
Because
no one's talking about that.
Is it the thing in the sky that they keep seeing in the sky, and they're like,
we haven't heard about that. So
that's
what
North Korea. That's just Koreans doing North Korean things.
No. This is they reckon. So the going theory at the moment is that those balloons that they shot down was to cover up the fact that a massive train tipped over, like, and caused a massive chemical spill in East Palestine, Ohio.
Yeah.
And it's literally like acid raining, and there's like the people...
I reckon the frogs would be gay then.
I reckon the frogs would be bones.
Yeah,
to be
absolutely.
honest.
But no,
so
great.
The frogs have dissolved.
You're 100% right. Like false flags are one of those things that, like, they are a very common conspiracy theory because they're so often true. It's like, yeah, Grant, as you're saying, it's like, yeah, it's people think that these weather balloons are just a distraction from the fact that, like, yeah, that fucking train company derailed and fucking spilt vinyl chloride all over a whole town, and people are fucking dying, and they've poisoned the river, and they've done all that stuff.
Gotta love the plastics industry.
Yeah, that one's one of those ones that I like. It's hard because I want to say that's not a conspiracy theory because that's just so obviously true. But I guess that's what a conspiracy theorist would say at the same time. It's like, I want to believe, like, I know that that's true. And so that's not a conspiracy theory. I was like, but technically it is, because I can't prove that it's like, it's, in my opinion, it's quite obvious. The facts are kind of staring us in the face, but you can't prove that it's true.
No.
But you can prove that both things happened, but you can't prove the connection between them.
Yeah.
And correlation does not imply causation.
Yeah,
there is
that's
higher
the confirmation bias.
Of eating peanut butter sandwiches. So more eat peanut butter sandwiches that you eat, the less likely you are to get heart disease. And that is not causation, that is correlation, because if you're eating peanut butter sandwiches for lunch, it means you're more likely to be bringing your own lunch from home, and you're less likely to be eating fried food and fast food out and all of that kind of stuff. It's an indicator of, if you're eating a peanut butter sandwich, you're making food for yourself. So it's like an indicator of lifestyle. Anyway, correlation causation is a big one. But I have to admit, I have like a secret wish for some conspiracy theories to be true, or maybe I kind of just accept them to be true. Like, so I 100% believe, and I feel so dumb saying this, 100% believe there's some weird shit going on at Area 51. Be it aliens, or be it like they're just cloning people left, right, and center. And then one of those clones was used to replace Avril Lavigne. And that's a good theory. But like, I
haven't heard that one for a while. That's a flashback.
That's a great theory though.
And I also like aliens, I don't know if they exist. I don't personally think that we have UFOs coming and abducting people and probing their anuses, because but like, I do believe that like there is other life in the universe, of what sentience it is and of what technological capacity it is at. Who knows? But I also have this secret thing where I kind of think that the moon landing was fake.
Ooh.
Like, I don't know. I think look, it's probably because my mum has always been like, moon landing was fake, and I'm like, no, it wasn't. It's like, yeah, why is the flag moving? They're in space, and I'm like, oh.
But I guess if the flag moved as you put it up, would it just slowly? It wouldn't just stop, would it? Like, because there's some inertia still in it as like you lift the flag up. There's still some inertia in the flag, so it's going to move. It kind of like it's not going to flag in the wind, but it's going to have some movement, wouldn't it?
Yes, but it would dissipate. Like,
Yeah.
it would have to. But no, but it's got nothing to go into. I guess it would
Yeah,
just reverberate
it's got
back
nothing
into the pole, into the ground, and then it would go
Yeah.
into the earth of the moon. But I know, I'm sure we've been to the moon now, like, absolutely. But fucking 1969, we were not very technologically advanced, and if we did make it to the moon, let's be real, it was a fucking fluke. Like, Jesus
Well, that's
Christ.
it. Yeah, it's like there's more technology in like a phone now than there is more powerful computing capacity in your phone than there was in all the computers that fucking sent apparently sent man to the moon.
Apparently Neil Armstrong had to do manual calculations because during the moon landing, because they were coming in too fast, and he's trying to do the calculations to find the right angle and all of this kind of stuff. And I'm like even
you can say allegedly at the start of that. Allegedly, he had to do allegedly mass when they allegedly landed on the alleged moon.
But even if and then I go, oh, I feel like an idiot for saying that. So okay, let's say they did land on the moon, 100%. I still think the American government would have had a fake moon surface for them to film.
Oh, the video, yeah. Like, you couldn't do the video, especially because didn't they say it was live? I don't know. I was long.
Yeah,
they
said it was live. They said it was live.
There's no way they were getting a strong live feed.
My mum was 7, so that was
that wasn't happening.
Pretty good indicator.
I still sometimes now can't even be too guaranteed that I'm going to watch the footy and it's going to be good quality. There's no way we're getting live feed from the moon in '68.
Well, I think they said that there was a delay on it. It's like a delay of like 8 minutes or something like that between them. So it's like their version of live, but it was like broadcasting the signal back. I think.
Did we have satellites then? I don't know. Well, I mean, the moon's a satellite, but like.
Yeah, that's what they said. But again, like, I can't prove it. But like, yeah, I don't know.
Let's all speculate wildly, because that's exactly what this is about. To be honest,
I think I think as we kind of bring
Cthulhu is real. Cthulhu is real. That's why I have depression, because the Cthulhu is real and it fills me with dread and unknown horror.
I mean, Margy, that can be your answer if you want, but I was going to say, like, as we sort of try and tie up this wild segment where we kind of run all over the place, I think like what maybe for each of us, what is a conspiracy theory that we believe or like believe is probably pretty true? And Margy, we can start with you because you sound like you're about to pee your pants.
I thought we were going to ask what conspiracy theory would you like to be true.
Oh, it could be that as well. I mean, it's technically the same thing. God,
some kind of higher spiritual power. Fuck me, I really want it to be real. I want to go meet my grandma in the afterlife. I want to. Look, I might go to hell. I'm probably going to go to hell. But holy shit, how fucking cool would that be if God was real? Like, I know that he's not scientifically. I know that he's not, but fuck, it would be cool if he was real. Sorry for alienating listeners. Also, I would really like Tasmanian tigers to still be real. Because
I'll keep an eye out.
I love fake Tasmanian tiger sightings. One of my favorite things in the world.
What about the fake puma sightings?
Oh my god, it's so good. And also like Sasquatch/Bigfoot would be great, but they're my top ones. Maybe not God. Maybe I should say spiritual power. Let's say that. I would like there to be a spiritual, divine energy to the universe. That's not
wholesome.
Just my divine feminine, as in period pain. From what I can tell, that's what being feminine is. But like. Yeah, that's what I think I would like. What about you guys? Tasmanian tigers.
Oh no, I reckon it'd be cool if it just turns out we're all being in a simulation the whole time and all this is fake. Because let's get real, like life is pointless regardless. Like, you make your own point of it. So if you're in a simulation or not, does it really actually matter?
Oh, Plato would be proud.
Fair.
Plato's not even real.
And Josh.
What about you, Josh?
Well, I mean, this is like, it kind of harks back to what I was saying earlier, is like, I I don't believe this is a conspiracy theory, but it technically absolutely is a conspiracy theory. Like, I don't know if either of you are familiar with a guy called Graham Hancock, but Graham Hancock.
Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself.
Oh,
No,
that's just
we're getting into
that's a
fingerprints of the
fact.
gods.
That's
I
fact.
love
Okay.
I love Fingerprints of the Gods, Magicians of the Gods, but more recently he's done a Netflix series as well called Ancient Apocalypse, and I think that's a bit more based in fact than his books. He pretty much like the whole time is just like, look, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens, but he never says that it's aliens. But basically he's postulated for the last like 20, 30 years now that there is a big cataclysm that happened around the year at the end of the ice age around the year 10,800 BCE, where something dramatic happened and we lost an advanced civilization that existed at the time, like an advanced civilization of human beings.
But what grates me about
like
Graham
every
Hancock,
sci-fi/fantasy ever, but all right.
what grates me about him is he never specifies how advanced he believed the civilization to be, because he will talk to you and lead you on as if he thinks it's like Atlantis with laser guns, but really, as he talks about it, it's probably like a dude that actually had a language and could carve a bit.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
and
that's,
maybe
that's
they maybe
They had
figured out
wheels.
agriculture. They figured out agriculture. Well,
They
even
had wheels. They were like,
even the Aztecs didn't even have wheels, and they were fine.
Yeah, I guess that's the kind of thing is like, yeah, he very much like, he uses the word advanced, but when we think about advanced, we think about a future civilization. Whereas, yeah, as I think he means advanced for the time that they were at. But Ancient Aliens is Ancient Apocalypse is a really, really good television show where he
honestly,
goes to sites.
I as much as I don't like him, I really enjoyed the show. Like I enjoy the alternative point of view, but at the same time, I think he's got some good points about there's things that we perceive and believe that aren't true, because that happens with everything. You know, time goes on, we figure out, oh, that actually wasn't right, and we're going to think a bit more about it. But also, he gets to this point where he's like, okay, this is plausible, and then he just does a fucking 40-kilometer leap and says, this is what I think. I'm like, you're missing a few steps to get to that conclusion, and I kind of really need to know about.
I want to see you mind map this. I want to see like some really nice, like the steps that you took. Show your working for full points.
Yeah, I mean, like
that's how we do it.
He shows a lot of his working in Fingerprints of the Gods, but he works to some pretty interesting places. I mean, like he starts off the book where he's like, he talks about a map that has 100% been verified as real from like the 1600s that they know was like based on maps that were like hundreds, if not thousands of years earlier, that show the entire continent of the Antarctica as we know it today. But we didn't know, like current present day civilization didn't know what Antarctica looked like until 1952 or 1956, when we could finally map it out under the snow where it was. But there are maps that exist hundreds of years beforehand that knew. So they had to be based off.
So were they reproductions of an earlier time that was, say, before an ice age, during a period of large heating? Oh my God, humans were around at the same time as dinosaurs. Fuck, that's my theory.
He never goes that far, but yeah, he suggests that there was like some sort of seafaring, you know, like advanced building civilization that existed that has been lost to time. And like, yeah, I believe it. I want to believe that's true because I really like those books, and yeah, he makes me laugh.
Yeah, he very much does a lot of, isn't that interesting?
Oh my God, I love him. I need to watch this.
And he was like, I'm not going to elaborate further. I'm not going to actually attempt to prove the giant leap in logic I just took from the very interesting facts I actually gave you that are debatable, like in a good way. It's like, yeah, that is like, you have good reason to debate that fact. And then he's just like, and there we go to space.
I think that's why I love ancient history so much, is because it kind of is conspiracy theories that people are just like, well, this and this, let's try and fucking prove this tenuous link. And then they just go for it. They're like, Stonehenge was built by the aliens. They're like, nope, they dragged the stone there all the way from Wales. Okay, well, that's kind of even more fanciful than it being built by aliens, because like, how the fuck did they get it there? And like, just stuff like that. It's like, oh, I just love that. I love kind of extrapolating and putting,
or even like that everyone's like saying that the pyramid is made by slaves. It's like we're taking, like, there's no way that the craftsmanship that was putting into that was made by people who didn't care about that project.
Yeah.
Oh, you care. You care. Have you
Yeah.
been whipped before?
Yeah. Oh no, I mean the people that dragged the bricks, absolutely slaves. But the people that did like the artisan side of it, there's no way that was slaves. No.
Oh, they just had to cut shit into squares. It's not that hard. Rectangles.
The laws of
Rectangular
trigonometry
prisms.
have a lot to speak to you about, Margy.
Yes. I think it would have been very, very, very hard.
I disagree.
Without a single tool.
They had tools back then. Holy shit.
No,
We've
but I
had
mean,
tools
like-
for like 10,000 years.
Yeah, but I mean, like a proper to get something perfectly square, just by chance.
They're not perfectly square.
They're
They're
pretty
just-
close.
They're pretty close.
Pretty
but
close.
Yeah. They just
Fight,
were
fight,
really,
fight.
really good at
At
doing like
this.
the hands, doing the hand thing and
yeah,
going.
Yeah, a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right.
They were far more skilled workers than just going like this.
They invented voguing. Oh my
Yeah.
god, the Egyptians. For those listening, we're doing shit with our hands.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we're doing
on
the
that
Egyptian.
On that note, I think, dear listener, we'll move into the final beat for this week, which is a would you rather. And Grant has thrown this one at us, and it sort of is a throwback to our very first episode. The very first episode we did of Balrogs Blastbeats was called "The Best and the Worst Universe to Live In," where we talked about the different universes and which one we'd want to live in. So now it's a would you rather? Would you rather live in The Witcher or The Last of Us universe? But Grant, I think we'll start with you. Do you want to be hunted by all sorts of demons or by mushrooms?
They're not demons, they're monsters.
Oh,
Clarifying.
I think I'm gonna have to go because like we're also talking about like you're just a regular jack off.
Yeah. You don't
Like,
have. You're not
a witcher. You're not a mage. You're just like you're
peasant number 3.
I'm the dude that I'll run over with a horse when I'm playing Geralt.
Yeah, basically, you're you in this universe. So even if you go into
Yeah.
the Last of Us universe, you're not like an SAS soldier who can fucking.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like it's like I've shot a gun once, kind of thing. It's like that's the kind of level we're going in at.
Yeah, so it's useless. No point even having one. So I reckon I would pick the Witcher universe. I think you'd have a better life because there is even though there's creatures around and they come in every now and again and you know ruin some stuff, there is at least like a general safe community. Whereas like The Last of Us is just straight up like there's a couple of us, the rest of us are zombies. There's no safety, and anything else is just fighting for food. Whereas I feel like there's at least like there's a level of agriculture. There's wells. There's like some semblance of community in The Witcher, even if it's damp, disgusting, and sad. It's still better than the mushroom. cleaners.
Medieval Europe, damp, disgusting, and sad. That's how I describe it.
I reckon I'd have to pick the Witcher universe. I think I would have a slightly better time than
Fair.
The Last of Us.
Fair.
Because
What
I
about you,
feel
Margy?
like
Okay.
The Witcher sounds like I'd always have dysentery. But if I was at The Last
Great
of
way to
Us,
lose weight.
but
so-
also The Last of Us is also I'm gonna have dysentery, but I'm not gonna be able to choose where I shit in The Last of Us. Whereas in The Witcher, I'm gonna have at least a few more seconds to be able to like I'm just gonna poo here.
I'm
and
gonna
that's-
use
I love that. That's the
That
line.
is-
It's just like,
that
well,
is-
both of them, I'm gonna have dysentery, but where can I get to a toilet?
That is it's a toilet comfort is greatly overlooked these days, and I think it's something
Fair.
that's very significant.
I cannot argue with that.
Well, I have established before that the idea of a cordyceps fungus taking over humans terrifies me beyond reason because I fully, if you've seen it in insects, it makes me so uncomfortable. And the idea of it in humans would just cause me so much trauma that like I'd probably just go to China instead of having to deal with that kind of chaotic world. So I'm going Witcher because benefits. The time of man is rising and the time of elves and magic is dying, which means hopefully we get like air conditioning at some point or maybe electricity. I don't know. 2, I don't know. There's some badasses in black who are invading from the south. Hello. Maybe some of them are hot. I don't know. Try my odds in the Witch universe. And 3, Geralt. Geralt, the hot one, the hot man, the really hot man. And maybe he could trade me in the
smelly man.
sword. So I can be your Siri baby. I can take away the pain.
But let's be
so-
realistic. The way that it's going to happen is the way that we all play Geralt. We'll be like, oh, fuck this common peasant.
This
I'm
common
going to
peasant.
keep on going. I got quests to do.
Excuse me, I am pretty sure Geralt will fuck anything that moves. So
Sorry.
I got him. I got tits. They're just very small. So
Nah, not if he's trying to grind out getting components so he can make his master armor. That's
oh, bloody
a serious business.
well, okay, then I'll pretend to be a monster and get killed.
I'll pretend
by
to be
it.
like pretend to be a piece of dragon's leather.
Yes, I'm in his saddlebag. Josh, saddlebags.
For the exact same reason that in the first episode I choose the Fallout universe is the same reason I'm going to choose the Last of Us universe. Because I feel like if I found myself in a place like that, I feel like I wouldn't have long to live. I feel like I wouldn't last very long in either of them. So I may as well go out swinging. And if I feel like if I'm going out swinging, I'd actually do better in the Last of Us universe than I would in a monster universe like the fucking Witcher, because there's too many big monsters in that. So I feel like me and like a couple of chainsaws, like I could at least take down a couple of zombies.
Yeah,
Maybe
until
I'd
they
get a
run out
nice
of petrol.
hike
How are you going to
in.
get more petrol? Jeez, Josh, got to think
Yeah,
about
I'll
these things.
I'll find a way.
I mean,
Guys,
also you don't even have to wait.
We've overlooked the biggest potential benefit of going to like a medieval style universe. Motherfucking science. I'm going to make a potato battery and people are going to go, she's a witch. But witches are
Hey.
allowed there, so it's all good. So,
I mean,
you know,
you'd probably
I'd be
still
like,
get burnt.
Yeah, you definitely get burned alive. You'd 100% be set on
oh,
fire.
if I try to invent fire or like you know, make safety matches, I'm setting myself on fire regardless. But anyway,
But I'd also get to do some I'd also get to do some urban exploring before I died. You know, I'd get to see a couple of rundown cities. Like I'd have myself a bit of an adventure, and then I'd turn into a mushroom. Is basically, and like I like mushrooms. Like they're delicious. They're good for you. They can send you on a psychedelic trip, and so like I'm not mad about that in the scheme of things.
But
so
do you know,
conspiracy theory. The zombies in The Last of Us are all high as tits, and that's why they keep trying to eat people because they're magic
Hungry.
mushroom cordyceps.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's 100% it. But dear listener,
frogs eat it, they turn gay.
dear listener, we need to know what you think. Every Friday on the Northside Nerds Instagram and TikTok, the links will be in the description. You can click and go and follow them. We put the question out to you. You can go back and find out all the other questions that we've asked because some of them are very, very funny and some of them are just stupid. And
tell us your favorite conspiracy theories as well.
Tell us your favorite conspiracy
on
theories.
social media and let's
use discretion. Use discretion. Don't tell us all your favorite ones.
Obama can control the weather, was not born in America, and he's also Malcolm X's
as if we didn't
son.
even talk about the harp machine. How did we not talk about harp machine?
And we didn't even talk about all the cryogenically frozen celebrities that are in secret bunkers across America.
I feel like we could do like just a technology episode, like conspiracy technology episode. That could 100% just be its own thing. To be,
we didn't even talk about Walt Disney.
Yeah, we'll come back to this. We'll come back to this topic again because I feel like there's still so much that we can talk about.
Oh, I also want to talk about conspiracy theories / fan theories that go deep for shows.
We can do that.
So put on your thinking hats. Also, one of the best conspiracy theories ever, that Prince Charles was a vampire, it's been disproved as far as I could tell because he died apparently. So,
but also like which one? How many Charleses there been?
Oh fuck! There's a lot of them. They just
maybe that's why.
like rabbits. They're all inbred. How are they still going?
Well, that's why they all have
fallen off.
That's why they're all hemophiliacs.
What did you call me?
This is the end of that podcast. Well done. Go follow us on Instagram. Share this with your friends. If you've got a conspiracy theorist in your life, send them this episode so they can fucking tell you why we're wrong. And peace.
I'm sorry to everyone that I insulted.
Or even worse, send it to your friend that will agree with all the stuff that we were being satirical about. Yeah, equally as entertaining, to be honest.
100%. Yeah. Peace, love, and the earth is flat.